Matt from Kruger Parade Baptist. What would you say makes a good person?
It's hard because to define good means you have to narrow that down pretty significantly. There's a lot of good qualities and traits that people would have from generosity, love, respect, honour, but it's so difficult because the good is mixed in with the brokenness and the bad. But yeah, I guess some of those qualities that we might think of character traits of good people would be that they'd be honest, that they'd be truthful, they'd be loving and caring, they'd look out for people who are in need, and they would go out of their way and try to make other people's lives better, not just their own, so not selfish.
I'm Pierre Francini. I'm the pastor at Central Valley Church there in the Ripley Valley. Yeah, that's a really good question, especially in the society we live in. How do you define good, especially as we start to define morality very differently in our current age? So I would say what defines a good person is how you define good, and for me, how that standard is made is by God. And so God defines goodness. What makes a good person really then is shaped by that relationship or that understanding of how he defines that and how he lives that out, or that person lives that out. But yeah, it's a really great question. I think the famous atheist philosopher Nietzsche said, you remove Christian morality from the picture, you pull the rug from under your feet in terms of understanding that. And that's what our secular culture is trying to wrestle with now, is how do we build morality without having those foundations that Christian morality brought. So from valuing a person's life right through to what is right and wrong. But I reckon you bring God into that picture, you understand who he is, and you'll start to understand what goodness is and what then a good person really is from that.
Billy Dean, Raceview Congregational Church. What makes a good person? Someone who thinks more of other people than themselves.
Stephen Monsignor, the Associate Priest at St Paul's Anglican Church in Ipswich and responsible for St Thomas's in North Ipswich. I think really somebody who's honest, somebody who has an understanding and awareness of their core sense of right, often faith comes into that. But as a Christian, I think the reality is that we actually have a commitment to being honest, to being true to who we are. By doing that, we can accept where we're different and see that as an opportunity to learn and grow rather than build barriers and fight.
Sure. Ben Henschke, serve as the First Assistant Bishop of the Lutheran Church of Australia, Queensland District. I think there's various ranges of good. Ultimately, we have good people, and a lot of people in our society are good. For me, I guess the better question is, it's all well and good being a good person, but good people don't go to heaven. Forgiven people are the ones that go to heaven. So yeah, I think generally most people are trying to be the best person that they can be. We obviously are quick to judge whatever that might be, but I think most people are genuinely trying to do the best they can and be the best person they can be. We know as Christians that without faith in Christ, that really the best person is just a good person. That's not an eternal destination though.
One of those pastors said that we can't ever really be good enough to match God's standard, which was an interesting thing, which at first sounds a little bit depressing.
Yes.
But he did offer the hope, and I guess that's the hope that Christians have, that Jesus has made a way for us to be right with God.
Yeah.